And just like that, we're live. Oh my goodness, what is going on? You're watching Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 745, alongside Cody Maurice Doggett. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. Doing wonderful. You know, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Come on. It's
That's
only
right.
downhill or uphill, however you look at it, from here. And it's looking really good because we have our very special guest joining us right now. Aidan Wharton is joining the show. Aidan has a very popular Substack. What do you call them? Substack? Is it just a Substack, I guess, right?
Yeah, just a Substack.
Gay Buffet. I've been reading a lot of your articles. I really love them. We'll talk more about that. You also are the host of Getting Close, the podcast. I was listening to some of your episodes. Love it. We're going to talk about gay speed dating and so much more. But Aidan, welcome. Happy Hump Day.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy Hump Day to you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I was reading some of your articles and listening to a lot of your Substacks, and one of them you were talking, just to ease you into today's conversation, you were talking about friendship, and I believe one of your guests was giving some of the stats, or you were giving up some of the stats of how we've kind of lost friendships over the years. 33% of Americans reported having 10 or more close friends 30 years ago. And now it stands at just 13%. On this show, we've been talking about connection and really connecting with people, whether that's friendship, finding deeper connections, dating with more intention. What did you make you write that article about friendship and why we've maybe lost some of that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love that we're talking about the same things. I have very strongly for a long time, I used to work at the Apple Store, so I've always been really interested in tech. And over the years, I've sort of seen where it's going, and I can't help but think that a lot of the issues that are facing our world and the division that we have all stems from our inability to connect with each other again, or as we used to. And so that's why I started the podcast, Getting Close. I was like, how can we sort of revive these connection skills that we've lost? And so the article actually was inspired. I've wanted to write it for a couple of years because there's this video that went around a couple of years ago that was really talking about the importance of low stakes friendships, which I think on one hand are very important. But this was friends who you can cancel on whenever and they don't care, and who don't even call. You go months without talking and it's nothing ever changed. I'm like yes on one hand, but also that's not a real friendship. And I've been working
they
with
often
this
show
writer.
up when you need them too, right? I mean,
right. And so sort of everything that I write now is just about how we can really get back to our in-person connection, whether that's friendship, whether that's better relationships, whether that is, exploring open relationships and non-monogamy, whether that's sex. Just everything is about how do we get back to that good, wonderful connection.
Yeah. In your opinion, what do you think is the reason or why these connections have been they've been disintegrating over the years? What do you think on that?
I mean, I can't I talk a lot about the harms of the platforms that we use, right? And I think they have also done incredible things. They've brought us together. They're the reason that we're talking. They're the reason that, the internet and social media have always been really important for queer people, especially in spaces where we don't feel physically safe. Chat rooms and forums are really instrumental in queer people when they're coming out. And yet now, because of the way the platforms are designed, they're designed to keep us on longer. So they're designed to keep us anxious and keep us addicted and keep us hooked. And that actually takes away from us being able to do anything in person. And even when we don't think that we are under the effects of them anymore, they're still making us more irritated, more frustrated with people, annoyed at our strangers because we don't have that empathy anymore.
Yeah.
Well, in listening to your show, Getting Close, one of my favorite episodes with Andrew Ristirdi, I think his name is. He's a gay intimacy researcher. And when I was on the treadmill, I was like really getting into it because the science behind that and was just really fascinating. One of the things he was talking about is how our gay currency and sending nudes. I thought I loved the usage of our economy and the currency and how it's a very gay men's, queer men thing that we've done, often with not showing our face. And I learned something on there, and I'm so often late to the game. Cody is not, but I am. I didn't know on Instagram what close friends was. I just didn't know that. Maybe nobody's asked me to be their close friend. I was like, I don't know what that is. But it was like fascinating. Close friends is people, anybody could have close friends on Instagram, and it's a way often gay men then share things like nudes, or you could have a series. I could be with my family. Obviously, I'm not going to show my nudes on there, but I could just share certain things. Cody, what were you saying about close friends? And then we want to ask him about it.
Well, mainly, I feel like when you have a close friend circle, then you share things that are a little bit more in depth, whether they be nudes or whether it be something personal to yourself. But I get a lot of nudes on there personally. But Steve was saying we had a meeting before this, that like a lot of people will be in these close friends group and not really be close friends, and they will want to be out of this circle. They're like, how did I even get here? So it would be an awkward thing.
Nudes are being shared with you, but you're like, I don't necessarily want these nudes. But then your conversation with your guest was basically, how do you like tell somebody that?
It is like a really interesting sort of like entry into the foray of gay digital intimacy that Andrew and I, originally that's how we connected. Is I wrote an article about it a year and a half ago, maybe, just because I was like, it's so interesting how we do use these platforms. But the thing that I have noticed is like you can do a consent check, right? So every so often someone on their close friend story will be like, do you want me to take you off? Do you want me to keep you on? And I find that is not the most effective consent check, because like it's still awkward. Like there's still that
like,
moment.
Are you gonna raise your hand and me, take me off?
And I have never seen anyone select the no option. And I don't think that's because they don't want to. I think it's just because we don't know how to. Like once my friends and I were doing the Hot Ones challenge, and we all had to come up with our own questions. And one of my friends, he said, okay, your question is, whose close friends do you wish you were taken off of?
Wow.
And we all like burst out laughing, because we're like, yeah, there's like, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people have like that one person, because gay men use them all differently.
It's so funny because because it's labeled close friends, and even I think the example was somebody has 1,500, and do they really even know these people? They live in different cities. We have a subscription for our email newsletter, and every periodically I'll send out the blast, and I'll get, please take me off your list, that kind of thing. I don't take offense to it. I do that, unsubscribe to newsletters, and maybe because it's the term close friends is one of the reasons that people feel a little bit like, am I going to be that person? But it does remind me of one of your articles on Substack that you were writing when we talk about nudes. And I'll let people, because you have different versions, subscription based, and I love how you really organize your Substack, but you really recount how your nudes were stolen when you moved to New York, I believe from Hawaii, and you were a newbie in New York City, living gay pride. And it's a really compelling article that I recommend everybody to read. We'll give everybody the link. But what can you just tell us about that? Because I want people to read it, but that was traumatic.
Well, first of all, thanks for doing so much research. I feel so honored.
We always do, yeah.
I feel so touched. It was I was moving to New York, originally from Hawaii, and went to college in Pennsylvania, so was moving back. And the sort of like brief synopsis is I went out for Pride weekend. I was subletting at my friend's house, and went home with someone, woke up and like checked my phone and realized that somehow like I had sent nudes to the friend I was staying with. And my first instinct was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, what must have happened last night? But then I realized that I had just gotten a new phone. And I was like, wait, I couldn't have sent him anything because I had my new phone and my old phone was in his apartment still.
Oh no.
And
You
so,
know where this is going, Cody.
Oh no.
yeah.
Your NCIS.
The hard thing though is like with digital stuff like that, right? Like we talked about it and he said he never did it and we're not really friends anymore, obviously, but like I couldn't prove that he did, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And it just like was a really good reminder for me that like the way that gay men exist in these digital spaces is really complicated. And what I talked about with Andrew is that none of us have the same definitions about consent and privacy. And, we say that we would never take someone's nudes and send them to someone else. But if you're like sitting around at brunch and you're like, oh my God, you guys like look at the guy who I just had sex with last night, it's much more acceptable to be like, look how hot he is naked. And so it is just like a very interesting way that we have to navigate all of us having different definitions of consent and how we exist on the internet.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the question on your show was ask yourself first, what are your boundaries first, but then realize that everybody may not be on the same page as you, and that's okay, but you just need to learn from everybody else where they kind of stand too. And it's that
Right.
crazy world that you've got to continuously navigate.
Yeah.
And like within yourself too, because it's really hard sometimes to figure out like what you want and what you are comfortable with. And then learning how to communicate that is also so difficult.
Yes.
Definitely. And it's also kind of one of the tenets for like an open relationship, if I can steer the conversation in that direction, because I feel
Yeah.
like for open relationships, the key component is communication, especially when things like jealousy and things like that come up in your relationship. How do you speak a lot about open relationships? How would you say you navigate jealousy in an open relationship?
Yeah. So I have been with my husband for 8 years now. And
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. And we've been open for a little more than half of it, I would say, at this point. But I always sort of told him that I was interested in it at the
Hmm.
beginning. And so it took us a while to get there. And I am not a very jealous person. It has never really affected me. Like I've had partners in the past who have cheated on me or been unfaithful is like such a sneaky word to me, but like
Right.
it never felt as big of a deal as I was told it was supposed to. And so the way that my husband and I talk about jealousy is that like jealousy is a really good teacher. I think jealousy is rarely the actual emotion that you're feeling, and it is
Hmm.
a cover or it is above something else that you're feeling. And so we've gotten really good at being like, "Ooh, okay, I'm feeling jealous. What is the feeling that is underneath that? Am I feeling
Very powerful.
insecure or am I feeling left out or I feel like I need a little bit more love at this point in time." And so all of those things really like feed into the jealousy and then we can explain what we want and explain what we need and then like go from there.
I love
Love
it.
that. That's amazing. That's you know what, and that's something I hadn't even really thought of until I read it in your Substack. So thank you for enlightening me just a little bit more about because
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I haven't really explored because I am a jealous person, maybe,
Hmm.
but like exploring what's underneath it, I feel is very powerful and it will just
Yeah.
prove so fruitful
And
moving
like
forward.
also just because, you know, people have a lot of feelings about relationships on both sides. And like I'm working with this other creator here who talks a lot about monogamy. And it was really interesting because we both thought that we were sort of going to be the most attacked party. And then we started like comparing notes. And I was like, oh, the open relationship gays really come for you. And the monogamy gays really come for me.
Yeah,
And so I just like to preface anytime I'm talking about this with like, there is no type of relationship structure that is better than the other. There's just the
true.
ones that work for you. And as long as we sort of engage with that in a place of curiosity, that's sort of my happiest place.
That's awesome because on your Substack, you've got the sex lives of open folk, where you talk about 8 sex lessons for a healthier relationship, which I went through. You really count on your own relationship on how you two play separately, and that's
Mm-hmm.
worked for you guys. But the thing I've noticed in a lot of your conversations, which I really love, is that shame that you seem to either work on or have overcome. In other words, others might look at your relationship and you're not letting them define you on
Mm-hmm.
what queer relationships look like. And how did you get to that point where you didn't let it bother you with friends or even family knowing about being open?
Yeah, I've always had like a really strange family dynamic. Like my grandfather is a sex educator. My grandmother left him for a woman who she'd been like secretly having an affair with for 10 years, and they were together until she passed away. My parents like separated and then moved back in together, but they weren't together. Like it's just like has always been really complex, my entire family dynamic. And so they have been really like great about it. And it took a lot of like research. I read a lot of books about all of this. It took a lot of, when I moved to New York, I started dating couples and I dated a throuple at one point, and I just got to see all of the different types of experiences and types of relationships that people can have. That being said, I still like am grappling with so much of my own shame and internal, stuff.
We all
And
are, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I talked to my therapist. I was like, dude, I have all these like sex hangups and I'm a sex columnist. Like that feels really irresponsible. And he's like, well, probably the reason that you are a sex columnist is because you're trying to work through all of these things. And I was like, oh,
exactly. There you
yeah,
Interesting.
go. Like
I
your
like your
therapist,
yeah.
need
therapist.
his number, their
He's so
number.
good. He
Yes.
is the best.
I love
And
that.
yeah, it's been like really surprising to sort of take to like ownership of the open label and like sort of rebranding myself as this open relationship educator. And it has really proven to me that there are still a lot of people who either want to be open and feel like they're not allowed to, or they don't have the tools to. And so I really just try to give people like you said, like actionable little steps to work on these things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm married. I just got married last year, and yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. And we've doubled in playing together. But one of the things I got from your article that seems to work for you is you actually become closer with your partner when you play separately. Can you just tap into what you meant by that?
Yeah. So before I was a writer and a podcaster, I was an actor. And so we did a lot of long distance. I was on tour with Wicked and then on tour with
Ah,
another show I did here on Broadway in New York and then took on the road. And so it really allowed both of us to sort of like have the conversation about like the sexual areas for like growth that we both had, right? Like I'm a person who like really needs safety and security. And so I'm not like a big one night stand person. I didn't have my first grinder hookup until like 2023 because I was like so focused on like vetting people and knowing them for a long time. And so like at one point, my husband, I was in San Francisco and he was here. And I was like, this is something I want to work on for me. Like I want to work on having sex that is like a little bit more spontaneous. I love him to death. Like that's not something he can help me with because
right.
at that point he was my fiance.
Yeah.
And so we understood that we had separate sexual goals personally for ourselves. And then like the best thing was like having a cheerleader to be able to talk about those things with and then support, and then afterwards be like, all right, let's talk about it, let's have this moment of connection. And that moment of connection like really helped us become closer because also like we've talked about things that we never would have had to talk about otherwise.
Mm.
Nice.
That's so interesting. And it's so great that you guys can kind of like support each other in that way. I feel like a lot of relationships, even monogamous relationships, don't have that level of intimacy. Do you feel like uh, that's something that is intrinsic in the open relationship sphere?
I feel like it's different, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think every relationship style has its trade-offs.
Okay.
And I think there are different conversations that each, like a monogamous couple has to have that I won't have to have, and an open couple will have to have. I do think that there is a level of hard work necessary to be open or to explore non-monogamy that like not a lot of people want to do, and that is great. I'm a huge talker. I'm a huge like I want to sink my teeth into a problem and explore it. And so is my husband. So like it feels very natural for us to want to have these conversations and want to grow and explore with each other and outside because we understand that we're like two people who want the fullest life for ourselves and the person that we love the most.
Love it.
Amazing.
Well, let's talk about your Substack. You reached way
Yeah.
over 10,000 followers. Maybe you're way beyond that, but I
Yeah.
saw something on your Instagram that you had reached that.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a free side where you can talk about, I think, life in general, and then there's the tiered based.
Yeah.
What topics do you? How far do you go down in the sexy dark, whatever if you want to call it, on the
Mm-hmm.
paid tiers that you get on that one?
Yeah. So I really found out. So basically, the way that my Substack worked is I had it for a couple of years, and when I stopped touring and stopped acting, my unemployment ran out. I was like, "Oh shoot, okay, I need to
Now
do
what? Yeah.
something." And I was like, "I already have this little Substack thing. Substack like really pushes you to monetize, obviously, because they only get paid if you get paid." And so I was like, "Let me see what happens." So I turned on the paid subscriptions, and at first it was just to be about like relationships, and then I wrote one about why we get horny when we travel, and that one did so well that I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
the gays want to talk about this, and so then I started writing a lot more about sex. And what's really fun is I do these surveys on Instagram that are sort of like community-based surveys about whatever topic I'm writing about, and then use that information to write the articles. So, I did one about like steam room etiquette or
Mm.
cruising or like being uncut, or I'm like those were like the three most successful ones off the top of that. And then also a bunch of like the sex lives of open folk and how to have sex with your friends and all of these sort of sex and social sort of conversations that I found that people really, really want to talk about, which has been really lovely.
Love that. And I want to come back to how to have sex with your friends, but first,
Yeah.
I want to know how you have found that Substack, because I feel like Substack is relatively new in the past, like
Hmm.
what, 5, 6 years. How you have
Yeah.
found that information, like the way it's disseminated on Substack, how has that helped in this day and age?
Yeah. The Substack community is really strong. And so I started it in 2023. I was working for this nonprofit and they were really into Substack. And so I was like, let me try and see what it is. And the thing that really stuck out to me most is how like really interconnected all of the writers and the readers are. Because
Hmm.
what Substack really tries to promote is trust, right? They're like basically you're asking people to just pay you for support and your thoughts. Like it's a little bit of both.
Hmm.
And they have
It's
really
the
sort
only
of built
fans for your
this.
mind, right?
Right,
I
100%.
love that. Oh my God, you should sell that to
100%.
them.
Okay, that is so good. And
That's a
like
good
it
tagline.
really is that. Like it's just the way that you want to like support people. And I found that the writers on there are so supportive and so kind. And it has just been like like again, I had no idea that this was the turn that even just the past year had taken. I was like, 30s are for acting. And then I was like, whoa, I can pay my bills with this. And then that led to the podcast. And I was like, this is actually a much more aligned version of myself that I want to be. And it's been so,
Oh, I
so
love
cool.
that.
Yeah, I'm just
And
really grateful.
it must feel good. And it felt like when you had Trevor Kuhn on the show, is he an actor as
Yeah.
well? And you were,
He also was an actor. Yeah.
yeah. And so he was talking about that. And now he's a dating coach. And I didn't realize this, but the two of you have speed dating here. You're here in New
Mm-hmm.
York, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you do speed dating, and it was what
Mm-hmm.
you weren't seeing in speed dating. And tell us more about that. Cody wants to
Yeah.
go.
I do want to go.
I've
I
done
like
speed dating. I loved it. It was so cool. Yeah.
it's very fun. I'm actually pretty sure he's in Miami, either doing one tonight or
I
tomorrow.
think I saw that
Oh,
on his.
wow.
I'm following him
Yeah.
now. So yeah.
Yeah. Trevor's great. We met like a year ago, actually, at his birthday, and my friend knew his partner, and so Trevor and I got to talking, and over the course of the conversation, realized that we both are really passionate about the same things. And then I started seeing that he was doing these speed dating events, and I was like, "Hey, I don't like have a ton to offer. Like, I'm not a relationship coach, but I'm a good performer. I'm a good host, and do you want help?" And so we just started like we did the first one, and then it really clicked, and it is like honestly one of my favorite nights. Of we do it like once a month, maybe like 10 times a year, and it's just so fun because people like don't go out and meet each other in person anymore,
Yeah,
and
it's true.
it's it just like gives people a real chance to like put their expectations aside because you are going to sit with people who you probably would never match with on the apps. And it doesn't matter. Like it's just a conversation for 3.5 minutes. And then you cycle through and you go around.
I love that.
Perfect. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I
Yeah,
want to go.
Cody.
Hit
I
you
mean,
up.
come.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was one of the things I got out of that episode with him as well, was that he was sharing one of his clients. He was telling his clients how to get out there and it was
Hmm.
like a test. He was going to Fire Island, and he ended up telling him, your job is to just go up to people. And it's not like you need to sleep with everybody you go up to. I mean, I am
Right.
such a talker.
Wait,
I think
you
the
don't get to
pandemic,
sleep with everybody you go up to?
you
Hold on a
could if you
second.
want. I mean,
I don't
if
want to
there
go
was
anymore.
consenting. But it's also just fun to talk to people too. And I think for me, the pandemic was that where we were trapped in this building. I started going to the rooftop more. I started talking to my neighbors that I normally would walk by.
Yeah.
And I got into that neighborly vibe. So now I'm comfortable just going maybe I'll go to a bar earlier if I'm meeting a friend, and I'll just chit chat with whoever's next to me, and you meet really lovely people. And
Yeah.
that can then get transcended into meeting people, somebody you want to date. And I just think
Hmm.
we need to get out there more and talk. Yeah.
100%. And it like,
Yeah.
again, goes back to this conditioning that we have from our phones where we're expecting everything to be instantaneous. And I've got a relationship with some of the people at Hinge, which is how my husband and I met.
Nice.
And, we just talk about like the fact that everybody is really just like looking for the fastest XYZ, but that people really aren't letting relationships settle into something that can grow. We're
I
just like
love
really
it.
trying to fix and like find the perfect match. And if that doesn't happen within the first date, the first chat, even, then we're like, ugh, okay, on to the next one. But
Yeah.
relationships take time.
Open relationships, closed relationships, situationships. Let's be honest. Labels don't make a relationship work. Self-awareness does. Because you can be open and still be emotionally shut down. You can be monogamous and still be disconnected. The difference? Confidence in who you are and clarity in what you want. At Connect and Confidence, we're not here to tell you what kind of relationships to have. We help you build the tools to actually thrive in one. Communication, boundaries, desire without shame. Because the hottest thing you can bring into any relationship is knowing yourself. Download Connect and Confidence and start showing up fully wherever you play. Go to studio.com/SteveV/connect. That's studio.com/SteveV/connect.
Maybe you can stick around for a little bit of advice and a couple topics with us
Yeah, of
for a minute.
course.
Well, this one is sort of,
Yeah.
we pretty much talked about it, but it came from Reddit, and I think we pretty
Okay.
much answered it, but it was entitled, "Is anyone ditching dating apps and doing in real life dating?" Yes, they are. They said, "For years, I have tried swiping on Hinge, just like you said, to try and meet people for coffee dates and see if there's a relationship potential. But what I found is that the algorithm on those apps eventually shows you only bad matches based on crazy metrics they have from surveilling you. I felt frustrated swiping and swiping daily through profiles that just didn't excite me. I started feeling hopeless, and then went to a major city and my options were more unlimited. So I decided to use in real life dating. I made a goal to approach at least 2 guys I see in real life every weekend at bars, even if I don't drink, nude beach, farmers market, out in coffee shops, etc. So far, it has helped feel more rewarding. Even most approaches don't lead to a date. Building up confidence and skills and socializing and meeting new people. I don't think there's really a question there, but that's pretty like, I mean, I know, but I love that. That's kind of what you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I'm just going to hype that person up. Like, that's hard. That is a skill that like not a lot of people can do. And I think we are on the cusp of a lot of people wanting to go back to that. I think all of the apps have had their moment and they're not going anywhere. They're here to stay. But even just amongst friends and amongst like the chatter online is this real movement to get back to meeting people in person. And I mean, there's like this really fascinating app that has launched in the UK called Gather. It's by my friend Bo. I think he wants to launch it here maybe in later March or April, but just like stay tuned for it. You can download it now, but it's literally a app for queer people to gather. It's sort of like a mix of like map-based Eventbrite. Oh. And so you can just like set up, I'm going to the park and we're having we're putting on music and dancing for an hour, and just you can put that on and people can show up. Or you can do it for just your friends. Like, it's a really cool idea, and I'm really excited for it to
I love the word gather, so I'm already sold on it. Cody, we did a story recently on somebody here in the States was doing meetups where they did dinner parties, and somebody would find a restaurant and it was like 8 to 12 people, and you would just put your reservation in there, and it would be all queer. Yeah, you and Jeremy were not as into it as I was.
That's why I don't remember.
You would be sharing a meal with 8 to 12 people that were all queer. So it was also, every gender representation. But I thought that would, especially if you move to a new city and they were targeting people in big cities to just meet, interesting people. And I love a good dinner party social. So I would sign up for that too.
Okay, I'll also add, just very quickly.
Please.
My computer went dark. My friend Mike is writing an article about that where he it's coming out in Gay Buffet next week. And he moved to Italy 6 months ago and had to be tasked with that very thing of like, okay, I'm in a brand new city. I speak the language, not great. How do I make a group of friends? And it's a really fascinating piece.
Definitely want to see that one. Okay. Yeah. And then we wanted to get your opinion on this when a gay man recently was shocked to discover that most tops don't douche before sex. And gay internet had so much to say about it. It was a Reddit where, do most tops douche before sex or not? The presumably young man says he met up with another on Grindr and they enjoyed a hot session. The other guy was a top and the Redditor was duly pounded. And after a break, the top wanted another go, but our poster was unsure he could take it again and offered a blowjob instead. Sounds reasonable. So while I was down there rimming and sucking him, I was about to stick some fingers in while doing it, since most guys I've been with seem to enjoy that. But he stopped me before I could, shaking his head and saying he wasn't clean enough down there. The man continued, before this, I was under the assumption that all gay guys clean out at least a little before playtime. And that's where the internet was like, are you serious? If I'm not going to, if I'm a top, I'm not necessarily cleaning down there. And I love the warning on this, but I don't think what do you think about this? Let's just get your opinion on this.
Douching is a lot of work.
Thank you.
If I'm going to top, I'm like, that's what a treat.
Right. You get a day off, a night off.
Right.
Whatever.
Oh, man. Well,
but how sweet of that poster.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but don't assume.
So,
Right.
well, you know what? If someone, I'm a top mainly, well, predominantly, and if somebody were to put a finger back there, or to were to
Allegedly.
put their mouth, word in the street is,
Yeah.
no, if someone to put a finger back there, or to go want to go back there to eat it, it would be clean. I'm clean back
Yeah.
there enough for, but like douching and all of that, that's kind of ridiculous. So this guy must not have been clean enough for any of that to transpire, which I do not agree with.
Or just anxious. Yeah, maybe he was just still
That's true.
self-conscious.
Look at you
Or
giving him the
greedy,
benefit of the doubt. I like
or
that.
greedy,
Aiden.
Or
like, didn't you
greedy.
already get enough? And yeah, I mean, somebody wrote in the comments like, not all bottoms clean out. So you're
That's true.
Oh, are
I
we going to
mean,
talk about painting? I don't know if we
Well,
should.
I will say
I-
there's
yeah.
this other new invention that's being invented in the UK. I don't know why all of my stories about the
Okay.
UK today.
I'm going to
here for
London
it.
soon, so let me know.
Okay, there's this company that has invented like a little sort of like jelly ball to replace douching. So instead of it, like instead of douching, if you are about to bottom, you just put this little jelly ball inside you, and like as the dick is going in, it pushes the ball in, and it sort of just like cleanses those. And then after like a couple hours, it dissolves and is all good, apparently.
Okay, you try it
Okay.
first, Aidan, and
Yeah,
then let
yeah,
us
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
'cause it sounds a little late.
I'll write about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Perfect.
we expect to see it on
We're
your
subscribed to your
Substack.
Substack, so we'll see.
Speaking of, oh my gosh, so great having you on the show, and I
Oh,
love your
thank you.
podcast. But tell us where we can find you, Substack, the podcast, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so Instagram is the best place to start. Aidan Wharton, Aidan. And then on Substack, Gay Buffet, and the podcast is called Getting Close, and you can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Let's all keep in contact because I really love
Yes,
having you on the show, and I
please.
love your Substack and
And
check
I'm
it all
coming
out.
to your speed dating.
Yes,
yeah.
please. It's
Yeah,
so
that's
fun. That's always on the Instagram.
Cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Aidan, thank you so much. We'll list all this
Thank
on our
you.
show notes and on our links here. And thanks so much. Please come back.
Yes, please. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Fabulous. Love him.
Wonderful. That was fantastic.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get into a couple more. Remember, Cody, Hot Topics, we talked about the influencer Demure. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Jules. I think her name is Jules something.
Jules LeBron's viral 2024 catchphrase, very demure, very mindful, had everyone from RuPaul to the Kardashians to Jimmy Kimmel really singing her praises. But then she recently revealed that being a celebrity brought her nothing but heartache. Going viral, she said, let me fall down a slope of insobriety that ruined my life, she says in a series of TikTok videos recounting her nightmare of fame. The funny thing, though, she does it in her home, which I assume she bought from all her fame. Her house was a little bit, how would you, hoarders now, and she was trying to get it together with her new sobriety. But the 32-year-old trans social influencer says becoming a social media sensation led her to the orbit of favorite influencers and favorite celebrities, with invites to glitzy Hollywood parties, red carpet premieres, and temptations she couldn't resist. And it was the highlight of my life, and everyone loved it. It also was the worst time of my life. It was the worst of times, bitch. And I love her honesty though now, and it does show when, you know, overnight success with something like that, TikTok can just go in amazing directions, but if you don't manage it well, can spiral.
Yeah, it has its pitfalls. So I'm glad that she is doing well right now, but and I'm sad. I'm sad she had to go through that, because didn't she have some like legal troubles with making sure that all of her catchphrase was actually protected, copyrighted?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's navigating it. I hope that she's comes out better on the other side. It seems like she is. So I can't wait for her to resurface and to see what she's got going on now.
Absolutely, me as well. Okay, I think we have, you know, shout out, you and I watched the Oscars last Sunday night, and there was a few moments where the queers really stood out. One battle after another, editor who won went viral for kissing his partner after his Oscar win.
I love that part.
And gay K-pop Demon Hunter songwriter thanked his husband in a backstage Oscar speech. I loved both of these, seeing them. One of them, we did see the kiss, and we were like, we all stopped.
Did that just happen? I know, right? It was great.
I don't know why we should be so surprised. It's Hollywood, but it was really cool to see. What did you think about it?
Definitely, it was great to see, and I can't, like you said, why should we be surprised to see something like that? Not only is it Hollywood, it's part of our lives, so we should be as shocked to see it. And I'm sure, hopefully, it opened some minds out there in the world to let other people know that this is normal. So I'm glad it happened. I'm glad I got to witness it.
Well, we love giving advice. We gave some originally with Aidan, but now you or I are up again. You can always ask us for sex and relationship advice. We'll give our handles at the end of the show. Go to tagspodcast.com, or better yet, go to our Tags Patreon community where the conversation continues all week. Go to patreon.com/tags podcast. Okay, this one, I loved it in our meeting. I read it to you and you just said, yes, I'm an older man now, but I'm still only attracted to twinks. Is that weird? You said yes, but let me hear them out a little bit more. Okay. I've always had a very specific type. I like guys who look young, cute, skinny, and not particularly muscled. I guess the term would be twink. The thing is, I've always been attracted to guys like that, and I assume that as I got older, my attractions would evolve along with me. They haven't. Now I'm approaching 60 and I still find twink guys in their 20s the hottest. Is there something wrong with me? It's kind of embarrassing, he says. When I point out a guy I think is really hot to my friends, they'll give me that look. Isn't he a little young for you? And I mean, I guess the answer is yes. But I don't know that I think it's that weird, because there's all sorts of daddy hunt. And I think it's only weird if the twink isn't looking back at you, which I'm sure is 8-9 times out of 10. But there are a lot of, well, I don't know. I mean, I do think there are, but I do think, that being said, there's a lot of twinks that are into older guys. They just are, or mature men, because that guy's 60, I'm 55, so I shouldn't really, not that far off. But I think it's all relative. Maybe this guy doesn't look 60. Maybe the twink is really into older guys. Who's to say? And I think breaking boundaries within our queer gay men arenas, we've always been breaking boundaries. Who's to say? Just don't become who did we report on? The divorce that went on all last year between
David
Geffen. And
oh my goodness! Don't fall into that trap. Don't become Austin Wolf either. Don't go too young. As long as everybody
that's called pedophilia. But
yes, it's something completely different. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's what this is, but I do agree that as long as everyone is a consenting adult, I don't see anything wrong with it. Like, I think I said yes for me, because as I've grown older, my tastes have developed. I think we talked about this last episode. I'm into manly men that, look like me, muscly and hairy. So I, you know what, like I said, as long as everybody is a consenting adult and, it's good to go.
I like it. Okay, let's go move on. This was a separate question that they wrote. Should they ask a person out again? Should I DM a guy I haven't seen in years? They wrote, I'm sitting in front of a computer screen right now, agonizing over whether or not I should message a man I was acquainted with years ago. I always found him to be an interesting person, but when we were acquainted, circumstances were such that we didn't really get a chance to get to know one another. Do you perhaps have any advice on reconnecting with people from the past? Have you ever tried to connect with someone who you didn't know very well in hopes of making a new friend? I think go for it. I mean, you can always start off, if you see somebody you haven't seen, you can always friend them. You can always ask them, hey, how have you been? Or I just say put it out there and maybe start liking some of their pictures and just see where that goes. If you don't get a response, abort. If you do get a response, but it's simply friendly, you can kind of play it out. But I don't think there's anything wrong with revisiting somebody that you've seen from the past that you thought was cute.
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100%. I will say that if you go into it, just go into it not expecting very much because you might not even get, like you said, a reply. But if the best thing that could come out of it is you do get a reply and you guys are back in communication. So what do you have to lose? Nothing. You're already not talking to the guy. So reach out to him. Be brave in these times. It's best to be
Go to a
brave.
speed dating. Put it out there. Try it
Put
all.
it
See
out
what
there.
sticks. Yeah,
Spread it wide and dip it low.
You
Okay.
gotta diversify these days. Yeah,
Oh,
Doug watching
man.
us live on our last advice about the twink and am I too old says, hi, Doug. For me, I'm still attracted to younger men, but as I've gotten older, my tastes have certainly expanded. So, okay, yeah.
And just to piggyback off of that, because I did want to say something before and I forgot it, but I have been most of the people that that are attracted to me are younger, so they're all in their 20s. So I can see how that could be a circumstance or something that could happen to this guy too. So yeah,
and younger, I married a younger husband and
look at you,
11 12 years, and so it's not. I think twink is if this guy's 60 and he's attracted to twinks, that's a foreseeably a large gap. But then he could be a young looking 60 and the twink could be, a lot of twinks look really young into their 30s. So, maybe it's not as big a gap as we think. And who are we to judge is what I say.
Yeah, as long as they're both happy.
Okay. And if you're looking for somebody in the ever popular, what do I put on my profile? This one came from Reddit where they asked the simple question, fit versus muscular. Roughly, how do you distinguish the two? Usually people are self-identifying this and I find it all over the map. Somebody wrote, to me, muscular is when people actually do weight training seriously, look visibly bigger and beefier looking. Fit is usually leaner. You don't have to have tons of muscle as long as you don't look overweight. Usually people who are into cardio exercises are more fit. I mean, that's a good clinical type definition of the two. Yeah. What would you expect to see if somebody wrote muscular versus if they wrote fit on their profiles?
Definitely muscles for muscular. I think that if you say that you're muscular, you have to be,
that's an obvious,
out. So I feel like for fit, it is a leaner look. I think it's more streamlined. I think that they're a little bit more svelte. So I think that is probably the main difference in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and that's kind of sad too because there's a lot of people that can look skinny, but they maybe went to their doctors and they're not that healthy. But fit, sometimes you can have a few pounds on you and still be considered fit. If you're, what if they felt their heart is good and their blood pressure is good? They consider themselves fit, but maybe they're not svelte and lean. But I think in the terms of what they're talking about and just the reality of it, if what you're going to put on your profile, this is what we're talking about, or this is what the kids are talking about, right? That svelte
we know
look that looks like you did cardio for fit, and that you need to have some muscles, not be a bodybuilder, but you need to look like you've got some muscles to be muscular. So
I consider myself fit. I don't consider myself muscular.
Maybe you're muscular fit. And you're into both. Yeah.
There
could be hybrid.
Yeah, I'm a hybrid. I love that. Thank you.
I love a good hybrid.
Well, I'm an electric car.
Oh, yeah. I love it. Well, we couldn't end the show. We're so happy to end the show with our favorite produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, Thirst Trap. Like I said, produced by Straight Up Gay Porn, asking the question this week, which of these 14 gay porn stars took the best photo? It's our job on an audio podcast to vividly describe why we chose it. I'll post it on our Tags Patreon community. And by the way, last week, the Thirst Trap King was the one that I voted for. who went by his name Paolo, Hot Paolo, won last week. And so I was happy for that. Who do you vote for this week and why?
I'm
Cody.
going to vote for. I just had him. Sorry. I'm going
Hate
to
when
vote
that
for.
happens.
I know, right? I just lost him. Oh well. Okay, I'll go for Dom King. That was my second pick, but I can't buy my first pick. He's super hot. He's in a bathroom. He's completely naked. He's got on. First of all, he has a fucking huge dick, so that's why I really like him. But he's muscular. He has on glasses, and he's looking in a mirror. It's just, you can't go wrong with Dom King. So that's who I'm going to vote for this week. How about you?
I love it. There's some really interesting good ones. The Bay 69 has kind of a cool, like he's got this really Middle Eastern look, if you will. Maybe he's Latino. Beautiful. He's got really a great haircut that I might tell my barber about. It's like short but coiffed. I don't know, a really great beard that's super coiffed. He's on like a 1970s rocker chair that's like not velvet but gold, and then he's got like a blue work shirt on and a blue tie, but it's like the sleeves are rolled up, the tie is loose, it's satin, and then he's got worker pants on. It's like after work, he's sweaty and ready to go, and he has this ass play toy thing where he's sticking.
I want to get one of those.
Yeah. He's got his huge dick with his balls hanging out of his workman pants, and he's got a look on his face like, I'm ready to go with this thing and destroy it.
Yeah.
The Bay 69 gets my vote. I'm going to vote right now because I like that. That's a good shot, right?
Definitely. He's super hot. And now I found my original number one. It's Zam. Okay. He's in the shower. He's got both. He's got his pitch exposed because he got both arms above his head. He's completely naked, and he's. I love a nice shower moment. He's so.
What's
hot.
his name?
So Zam.
Z-A-M.
Yeah, that's the one right there. So I have two, I guess, this week. I guess I'm going to tag team. So
Doug says Cliff. What's Cliff doing in his? By the way, it's posted on Tag's Patreon community. Forest Cliff is at the top of the list, I believe. Forest Cliff.
Oh, no, he's the guy that's tied up in a blue shirt with he's got his pants halfway down, and his hands are tied behind his back.
There is an actual Cliff.
Forest Cliff.
Oh, Forest Cliff, yes.
And he's got a gag in his mouth. So,
right.
But he's got cum all over his shirt.
Because
Forest Cliff?
Well, I think I was going between the Bay 69 and Forest Cliff because they both had like acts going. They had like something going on. They had
production going
on. There was a story behind it. I love it. Oh my gosh. We want to thank our special guest, Aidan Wharton, to the show. If you missed any of his links, we will post it on show notes, but also go to our Tags Patreon community or tagspodcast.com, reference episode 745. Thank you so much. Follow my co-host, Cody Maurice Daggett at Mr. Maurice on Blue Sky and on Instagram. Don't forget to get his EP out now with a music video on its way. Thing of Beauty out now wherever you get your music. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot gay sex. Lovely. Thanks, everyone.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.